आहे. काय अडचण नाही ना. आणि खाली कुकाळे सरांचं गुलाने मॅडमचं आणि आर ची साईन ठेवतो ऑफिस ऑर्डरवर. हा काय प्रॉब्लेम नाही ना. हा तेवढं ती नाही म्हणतो सांगतो ती तुमचा प्रश्न आहे ना मॅडम. बघितलं का पहिलं बघा लेक्चर चालू आहे सांगायचं नाही बघेल कोर्सवर म्हणजे समजते का तुम्हाला मी घेतलेला माणसाला कुठे कळतंय का काय चाललंय काय नाही तुम्हाला पहिला सब्जेक्ट 2 नंबर सब्जेक्ट कंपल्सरी आहे जे ऍडव्हान्स नॉलेज तुमच्या डोमेनशी रिलेटेड आहे त्याच्यासाठी तुम्हाला एक सब्जेक्ट सिलेक्ट केला तर आय विल प्रोव्हाइड यू सब्जेक्ट टीचर फ्रॉम मेकॅनिकल इंजिनिअरिंग डिपार्टमेंट तुम्ही थर्मलशी रिलेटेड घेतला तर तुम्हाला थर्मलचा मानवते आणि इंटरनल एक्झामिनेशन हे कशासाठी घेतं ते लिहिलं नाही तिथं 20 मार्क तुम्हाला इंटरनल आहे चॉईस तुम्हाला मेल करायची का हा मी ते एक्सेल शीट भरायचं ना तुम्ही बरोबर आणि ती खरं शेअर करायला पाहिजे तर मी येस
Okay, so good afternoon, all of you. Welcome to the second lecture of ATD, that is Applied Thermodynamics. So in last lecture, we have gone through the syllabus structure of ATD. I have explained to you about the syllabus of the ATD, right? Again, we have seen what are the scope of this syllabus, what are the course outcomes, what are the course objectives we are going to study from this ATD, right? So, as a diploma students, you already have a basic knowledge about thermodynamics. You have basic knowledge about heat transfer, and you have basic knowledge about fluid mechanics, etc., etc. So, yesterday in lecture, I have told you like this mechanical domain. It can be divided into subdomains like design engineering, thermal engineering, fluid engineering, production engineering, etc., etc. So, like that way, we can study mechanical engineering through various domains. Again, these domains are again interrelated. So if you take any project in industry, so no project is purely design related. So it is mixing of design plus thermal plus fluid, right? If I want to design a pipe, simple pipe, PVC pipe, if I want to design, in that case, first in design phase, I will draw the dimension, the length of the pipe, the diameter. In next thermal phase, I have to consider the temperature variations. So you may have come across, there are some pipes which are made out of metals, right? So there are copper pipes, there are steel pipes. So these are used for temperature, where temperature is higher. In that case, we are using copper pipes. Generally, we are using PVC pipes. But when we have to pass a hot water or hot steam, in that case, we are going for the metal pipes. So that is related to thermal. Again, if you want to go for the fluid domain, in that case, you have to consider the internal surface or the pressure loss in the of fluid in the pipe, right? According to pressure loss, you have to design for the pump. So no project is like we cannot fix into one domain. These domains are interrelated. Okay. So when you are going to do your project in last year of engineering, that time you will come across that you have to apply knowledge of various concepts. You have to apply knowledge of fluid. You have to apply the knowledge of thermal. You have to apply the knowledge of mechanics, etc., etc. Right? Okay. So in last lecture, again, we have seen about the what are the Bloom's taxonomy, like how we study a subject. This starts with the remembering, then we go for the understanding level, then we go for the applying level. So this is related to syllabus. Then again, if you go to a project, there we have to go for the analysis, we have to go evaluation, and then we have to go for creation. So like that way, we have seen the taxonomy, etc. So that was very basic stuff we have seen. So today in this lecture, we are going to start the chapter number 1, that is a basic concepts in thermodynamics. Okay. Right. So I'll share the screen now, and then we can start. So those who were absent in the last lecture, so don't worry. In last lecture, I have just taken the introduction part. I have asked some basic questions just to know your basic understanding of thermodynamics. I asked very basic question that can we create energy? So answer to that was no, because the total amount of energy remains constant in the universe. Again, I asked another question that can we create mass? Again, no, because total amount of mass in the universe is constant. So like that way, I ask very basic questions. So those who are present or absent in the last lecture, so don't worry. Your actual syllabus will start today, right? Okay. Okay, so now I will share the screen. Okay, so is my screen visible to all of you? I have shared my screen. We are in the chapter number 1, that is basic concepts in the thermodynamics. So here we are going to study about the first law, second law of thermodynamics. We are going to study about the concept of entropy. We are going to study the thermodynamics applied to the chemical reacting systems. So such concept we'll see one by one. So as a diploma students, we are already maybe aware of this concept, but in engineering point of view, we will study. Now, why I said engineering point of view? Because in diploma, you have just scratched the surface, you have just remember the concept, but in engineering, you have to apply it. So that is why the subject name is applied thermodynamics. Here you are going to apply the concept of thermodynamics to the real world, right? Here we are going to deal with one thermal power plant. So we are going to study what are the components of a thermal power plants like nozzle, turbine, condenser, compressor, etc., etc. Right? So before going to the actual application, we are going to study the basic concept. Okay. So even though you have studied these topics related to thermodynamics, be attentive because I'm going to teach you in application point of view how you can apply the concept. Okay. So is my screen visible? So somebody put in the chat box yes or no. Okay. Okay, so thank you for your reply. So we can start now, right? Now here, first we'll study what is thermodynamics. So thermodynamics as a word, it is a combination of therm, meaning of therm here it is heat, and dynamics, the meaning of dynamics is power. So like that, we also studied fluid dynamics. In that case, there is a fluid and its power. That way we have studied fluid dynamics. So here in this case, we are going to study thermodynamics. Here in this case, therm is the heat and dynamics is the power. We are going to convert the heat into the power. So there is a energy conversion will take place or energy transfer will take place. We'll convert the heat as energy into power as energy. So yesterday I have told you the total amount of energy in the universe is constant. Only you can transfer from one form to another form. Okay, so thermodynamics is a combination of therm plus dynamics. So one thing here it is, even though the lecture is in online mode, always prepare with the notebook and pen. The more you write, more you will remember. So that is a very well-known technique. More you write, more you will remember. If you are just scrolling on internet or if you are just watching this lecture while laying on bed, etc., or doing some other work and then you are listening to lecture, it won't help. Okay. So anyway, you are going to give 1 hour of your life, precious life. So make sure you are going to make a maximum advantage of it. So in this case, be ready with the notebook and pen. Wherever you feel you want to take the notes, take the notes. More you write, more you will remember. Okay. Again, I will give emphasis that this subject lays the foundation for 4 more subjects. So you are going to study heat and mass transfer. You are going to study refrigeration and air conditioning. You are going to study internal combustion engine. You are going to study some other subject is there. So there are total 4 subjects which require the basic understanding of the thermodynamics. Okay. So be attentive, be regular, and try to write the notes. So aspect related to energy and energy transformation. First is power generation. Second is refrigeration. Third is the relation among properties of matter. So here, when you say thermodynamics, it is just not related to the power generation. It is also related to the refrigeration. Okay. So when we're going to study the second law, in that case, we'll study what is a heat engine, what is a heat pump, what is a refrigerator, etc., etc. Now, first, we'll see what is the system and what is the surrounding. So the distinguishing between system and surrounding is very important. You should know what is your area of research. You should know what is not your area of research. So this is a very simple figure. It is there. Please draw it. Okay. So system is a domain under consideration. You can take any domain. Suppose you are sitting in your room. So you can take your room as a system. Okay. Now the outside of the room, maybe there is another room, there is a hallway, or directly there is atmosphere. You can consider that thing as a your surrounding. Okay. So whatever outside of the system, that is a surrounding. And the thin boundary which separates system from surrounding, that we are referring it as a boundary. Okay. So there are three very basic terms are there: system, the domain under consideration; surrounding, the domain outside the system; and there is a boundary. Okay. The thin line which separates the system and surrounding. Now this boundary can be sometimes physical, like I told you about your room. Okay. So there is a wall. Wall will separate the room from the atmosphere. So your wall is a boundary. Sometimes it can be imaginary also. Okay. So out of the your domain, or you can select any domain, and there can be an imaginary line which will separate the system from the surrounding. Okay. So what is the system? Quantity of matter or region in space chosen for study. Okay. So it depends on you. You can decide any domain. So the quantity of matter or region in space chosen for study, that is a system. Surrounding, mass or region outside the system. Boundary, real or imaginary surface that separates the system from surrounding. It can be physical, it can be imaginary. Now the boundary can be fixed or it can be movable. How? So if you take example again, I told you about room. So the wall is fixed, right? Wall is not moving. So it is not a Harry Potter movie in which walls or the staircase are moving. It is a fixed. In the real world, it is a fixed wall. So that is a fixed boundary. It can be movable. How it can be movable? So if you take the example of piston and cylinder, in that case, piston is moving from bottom dead center to top dead center. So in that case, that boundary is moving boundary. Okay. Shared by both system and surrounding. Yes. So boundary is always shared by both system and surrounding. No thickness, no mass or volume. Okay. So boundary always is very thin. It has no mass, it has no volume. Okay. Even if I take wall, in that case, just the very thin surface layer of the wall, that will be a boundary. Okay, I hope this is very easy to understand: system, surrounding, and boundary. Okay. Again, if I take, let us say this example of this bottle. In this bottle, whatever inside of this bottle, there is a water, so that will be system. Then this surface of bottle, that will be boundary. And outside of this bottle, this surrounding, so that will be surrounding. Okay, so the system, boundary, and surrounding. Now there are three types of system. First is closed system, second is open system, third is isolated system. We'll see one by one. Closed system. So in this case, they have taken, or here it is an example of a piston and cylinder. This is the cylinder. There is a piston which will move down or up. Okay. Now in this case, if you take the inner volume, this inner volume. So in that case, if you see, here you have to check for the mass and energy transfer. Okay. So in first lecture or the last lecture, I have told you the total quantity of mass or the energy in the universe is constant. Only you can transfer from one form to another form or one place to another place. Here in this case, if you take example of this volume, here you can see the mass inside the system. It has some specific mass in kgs. It has some specific amount of energy. Okay. Now the walls of the cylinder are not insulated. Not insulated means the energy transfer can take place, right? If inside temperature is more, outside temperature is less, so heat will transfer from higher temperature to low temperature. So that way energy transfer will take place. But if you see, the mass transfer cannot take place because there is no inlet, there is no outlet. Simply the piston is resting in this cylinder. There is no way the air inside or the mass inside can escape. So in that case, mass transfer cannot take place. So that is why this system is called as closed system. Okay. So a system where energy transfer can take place, but mass transfer cannot take place, that system is called as closed system. I hope you're understanding. So I'll give you one task. In chat box, put down the examples for the closed system. So look around. There are many examples in your room or in this world where you will see there is energy transfer is taking place, but there is no mass transfer take place. So think, and then you can put in the chat box. So anyway, I'm going to give you some examples, but I want you to think where, like outside or nearer to you, where you can see that mass transfer cannot take place, but energy transfer can take place. So we have our first answer here, cup of tea. Okay. Now, next. See, in this case, if you take example of cup of tea, it cannot be a closed system because its upper surface is open to the atmosphere and very minute, but there is a mass transfer takes place. So water from the cup of tea is getting evaporated. So there is a mass transfer. Yes, so Pragati and Asauri has given an example of pressure cooker. So that is very correct, or we can say nearer to the correct example. In that case, we are giving heat to the pressure cooker. So there is energy transfer, but inside mass. So if I put a rice and water inside of it, so the rice remains, the total mass of the rice remains constant, right? So it can be a very good example or nearer to the closed system. Again, in the pressure cooker also, if you see, the water gets boiled and it escapes through the nozzle. So again, in that case also mass transfer takes place. Okay, any other answer? Bulb. Okay. Yes. So this is very good example given by Sudhir. Electric bulb. So inside the bulb, there is a wire. Again, there is a gas. There is a certain gas present inside the bulb. When you start the button, the bulb gets illuminated. In that case, you can see energy transfer takes place in the form of radiation or convection, conduction. The energy transfer takes place, but inside the mass, it will not transfer. So there is a certain gas is there inside the bulb. It cannot escape the bulb. So it is very good example. Again, Aditi is saying watch. Okay. Yes, inside the watch also you can take the example, because inside the watch, what is happening? The chemical energy of the battery is converted into mechanical energy of the hands of the watch, right? So there is energy transfer take place, but inside mass, inside those hands or all whatever it is, it cannot move outside of the system. Okay, very good examples given by here. But again, some examples like pressure cooker or cup of tea, I won't say that mass transfer is not taking place. In case of cup of tea, upper surface is open to the atmosphere. In pressure cooker, when we lift the nozzle, the mass transfer takes place. Okay, so we can say these are the example very nearer to the closed system, but these are not the closed system. Okay, so very good response. So this controlled system, and inside the mass, so that is called as control mass, is another term. So here is another example, closed system with moving boundary. So this piston, initially it is here. So here initially there is a mass that is 2 kg, volume is 3 meter cube. When I will compress the gas, Compress the gas means piston will move from top position to the bottom position. In that case, total mass will remain same because mass is not escaping. Now, as the gas inside is compressible gas, in that case, its volume will decrease from 3 meter cube to 1 meter cube. And this process in our terms is called as compression. Okay, so in compression, the total mass remains constant, but the volume changes. Okay, so there are two processes you will observe throughout your engineering. First is compression, and second is expansion. In expansion, opposite takes place. Mass remains constant, but volume increases. So if I go from this position to this position, that is compression. If I go from this position to this position, that is expansion. But again, this is an example of closed system because here mass transfer does not take place. Energy transfer takes place because the boundary here it is not insulated. And it is another example of moving boundary. So the boundary here it is moving. Okay. Now there is a special case of closed system, that is isolated system. In this case, if I put insulation on the walls of the cylinder, so previously we have seen the mass transfer cannot take place. But if I put insulation on these boundaries, if I provide insulation on these boundaries, the energy transfer will also not take place. So you can take example of a thermos bottle. Okay, you have seen the thermos bottle in your home. We put hot water into it, and for a long duration, there is very little bit difference in the temperatures. So the water is still hot, even if you open the bottle after some time. तुमच्याकडे एक थर्मस बॉटल तुम्ही जर बघितलं असेल तर आपण गरम पाणी टाकतो सकाळी, राईट, थोडं कोमट पाणी करतो, थर्मस वॉटर मध्ये भरतो, तुम्हाला कुठं बाहेर जायचं असेल, राईट. In that case, if you observe throughout the day, the water still remains warm. Okay, what is happening in that case? First thing here it is water is not moving out, so that means mass transport cannot take place. Second thing here it is the insulation on the bottle restricts the heat transfer, so that is why the energy transfer also cannot take place. So that is very good example of a isolated system. In isolated system, both mass and energy transfer cannot take place. Okay. Now again, I'll give you a chance. You think on yourself. Try to think where we can see such kind of systems, isolated systems. One example already I have given you about the thermos bottle, where the water cannot go outside, obviously, and there is a restriction on the heat transfer because of the insulation. So that is very good example of isolated system. Okay, so we have our first answer here by Pragati, refrigerator. Okay. Okay. Others also. See, refrigerator, in a refrigerator, the whole concept here it is heat transfer. Because of the heat transfer only we get the refrigeration. So it is not a good example here for the isolated system. One very interesting example I will give you here. So we all know we live on Earth, right? Suppose this is Earth, right? Now this Earth is part of a solar system, right? So like that way, there are billions of solar systems which are part of a right. Is a part of a, we are a part of a Milky Way. Okay, Milky Way is another like ज्याला आपण मराठीत म्हणतो आकाशगंगा. We are part of Milky Way. Another again millions of Milky Ways are there. They are part of a one universe. That is what we say universe. Okay, so this is a Earth. This is our solar system. This is the Milky Way. And this is a universe. Okay. Now, if you see, yesterday I have told you in this universe, the total mass and the energy are constant. Their value is conserved. So that means if you see this boundary of the universe, there is no mass transfer and there is no energy transfer. Okay. So universe, our universe is also a very good example of an isolated system where mass and energy transfer cannot take place because it is assumed that there is nothing outside this universe. Okay. Universe means I am meaning this real universe, not Marvel universe or DC universe. I am meaning the real universe where at the boundary of the universe, mass and energy transfer cannot take place. Coconut. Okay, so very good example given by Shivraj. In coconut, the mass of the coconut or the water, it is conserved. It cannot move outside unless you break it. Again, the total content of energy content inside the coconut is conserved because there is a coating on the surface of the coconut, right? जे आपण घरी नारळानंतर बाहेरचं कोटिंग काढतो आणि त्यानंतर मग आत एक नारळ असतो. So that coating also is kind of insulation. So that is why mass and energy transfer cannot take place. So very good example given by Shivraj, coconut, right? Now moving on, move to the next system here. Open system. So you may have already guessed it. What will the open system? In open system, both mass and heat transfer take place. So to this piston and cylinder assembly, if you provide an inlet where the mass enters, and if you provide an outlet where the mass leaves, so there is an inlet and there is an outlet, and there is no insulation on the boundaries. So mass transfer take place and energy transfer take place. So that is an example of open system. So it is also known as control volume. So closed system, it is known as control mass. Open system, it is known as control volume. So examples are given here, water heater, right? So we have water heater in our home, in our bathroom. So there is one inlet to the water heater is there, from which the cold water comes inside. Then inside the heater, there is electric coil is there. Because of electric coil, water gets heated. And then there is outlet to the hot water, right? So that in that case, water is coming, water is going out. So that is a mass transfer take place. Again, the electric energy of the heater is transferred as a heat energy. So that is a heat or energy transfer take place. So it is a very good example where the heat and the mass transfer take place. Water heater. Car radiator is there. So car radiator is actually a cooling system which is employed in the automobile. As a diploma engineer, you might be aware of it, the radiator, right? So radiator is at the front section of the automobile. The outside air falls onto the radiator. So radiator has a series of pipe, right? So pipe is bent like this. Inside the pipe, the coolant is flowing. So the hot coolant, so coolant, it goes to the engine. It takes the heat from the engine. Its temperature increases. In order to decrease the temperature of coolant, we are passing it to the radiator. Again, that air falls on the radiator, heat transfer takes place. So in this case, mass is also moving, energy also getting transferred. So that is example of open system. Again, some advanced components here later. Turbine is there, compressor is there. In both the cases, there is an inlet, there is an outlet. So mass transfer takes place and energy transfer also takes place. So that is why there are open systems. So in your point of view also, if you can see, there are the examples of open system you can put in the chat box. Right? So look around, you will observe plenty of open systems, right? So where the water or the air comes and it goes outside of the system, so mass transfer takes place. So there is energy transfer also take place. So such system we are referring it as an open system. So look around, you will find plenty of examples. Okay, so here in mechanical engineering, our advantage is that we can relate to the theory. We don't have to imagine. Okay, so like computer, or other branches. Like in computer, you have to imagine that there is a language of one and zeros. You have to do the coding, and so there is a backend process take place, which you cannot see. But in mechanical, you can relate to the things. You can easily look outside, and you will see plenty of examples are there. Okay, so Avantika saying AC, AC, yes, very good example. In AC, air comes inside, it gets cooled, and energy transfer take place. Pranali is saying boiling water without a lid, correct? In boiling water, what happens? The water gets evaporated, so what mass transfer take place. Again, we are going to provide the heat with the help of gas. Okay, we are putting the vessel on the stove. We're starting the stove, and that fire, in that fire, the heat is there. That heat is transferred to the vessel. The temperature of water increases. It goes to its boiling point, that is 100 degrees Celsius in atmospheric conditions, and it gets evaporated. So that way, mass transfer is taking place and energy transfer also taking place. Yash is saying oxygen plant. Okay, so oxygen plant is as it is an open system. We are taking the atmospheric air, then we are using the concept of cryogenics. In that case, we are separating the nitrogen from the oxygen. Yes, there is mass transfer is there. There is energy transfer is there. Pragati is saying boilers. Yes, very good example of boilers. In boilers, what is there? In boiler, we are putting coal in the furnace. In furnace, that coal is burned. We get heat. Then in boiler, we have tubes which contains water. So there is a heat transfer from fire to the water. Water gets converted into steam, and then that steam is passed to the turbines. So that like that way in boiler also mass transfer take place as well as heat transfer take place. So wherever mass transfer and energy transfer is there, so that system we are calling it as a open system. Aditi is saying pump. Okay, yes, pump. So very basic difference is there between pump and compressor. We are employing pump for the liquids mostly. Compressors are being employed for the gases. In both the cases, we are increasing the pressure of the fluid. So mass transfer take place as well as energy transfer take place. Okay. So I hope, so as I'm very sure now at this point that you are understanding the basic concepts in the thermodynamics. So like this way, we'll go slowly so that you will understand, you'll get confidence. Once you understand the basic concepts in the thermodynamics, the upcoming chapters are very easy. Okay. Again, if you see the syllabus for the GATE, in that case, majority is given to the basic concepts, right? And like if you see the syllabus of thermodynamics for GATE, 50% questions are based on this basic concept, and 50% questions are based on other subjects like vapor power cycle, refrigeration, etc., etc. Okay. So boundary of open system is known as control surface, right? So this is an example of a turbine. In this case, as you can see, the air comes inside and it is going outside, air or there may be steam. So mass transfer is taking place, energy transfer is taking place. So this is a real boundary and this is an imaginary boundary. Okay. Again, this is very important here. The casing outside the turbine, that is a real that we can see or feel. That is a real boundary. But the inlet and outlet, that is imaginary. Okay. That we have to define while studying the turbines or the compressors. Now we'll see what are the properties of systems. Majorly properties like temperature, pressure, these are classified as, we'll see, endothermic. Okay. So any characteristic of a system is known as its property. Okay. So there are various properties you might have already studied the properties like temperature is there, pressure is there, energy is there, volume is there, mass is there. All these are the properties. So why these are the properties? Because they define the system. Okay, if I take again this bottle, so this bottle contains 1 liter. Okay, so the mass of this bottle is 1 kg. Okay, so the mass will define this system. Again, if I take the volume of this bottle, so that volume will define this system. If I measure the temperature of this bottle, that will be define the system, right? So any characteristic of a system is known as its property. So pressure, volume, temperature, mass, viscosity, electric resistance, thermal conductivity, etc., etc. There are many of the properties. And it is divided into intensive properties and extensive properties, right? Intensive properties are independent of the mass of the system. Okay, and extensive properties are the dependent on the mass of the system. So what is it? I will explain you. Right. So this is very interesting exercise. Every year I give it to the students in order to understand the concept of intensive and extensive. Okay, suppose this is a room. This is your room or the classroom where you are sitting. Okay, now this room has certain mass inside it, right? It has certain volume inside it. It has certain pressure inside it. It has certain temperature inside of it, right? Then it has, let us say, some energy inside of it. Okay, right. Okay, so this is the first step. Suppose you are in a room. It has some properties like mass, volume, pressure, temperature, energy, etc., etc. Now I will divide this room with the help of a wall. With the help of a wall. Now tell me what will happen to the mass. Will it remain the same as it is, or will it be divided? Right? Previously, mass of the total room was m. When I will divide this room into two parts, again 1 and 2, what will happen to the mass? Will it be divided? Like if I say mass of the room number 1, what will the mass of the room number 1? Will it be m or will it be different? M by 2, correct. So Shivraj has given the right answer. So mass will be divided into 2. So m1 will be equal to m divided by 2. So mass is getting divided. What about volume? What will happen to the volume? Right. What will happen to the pressure? What will happen to the temperature? Pressure is Newton per meter square. It is very micro level property, right? Very small area we are taking, and on that we are calculating the pressure Newton, that is 4 Newton per meter square. So even if I divide the room into two parts, if I measure the pressure at this point, if I measure the pressure at this point, the pressure will be same. Okay, it is a microscopic property. It does not change with the dividation. Again, if I take the temperature, if I again measure at this point, if I measure temperature at this point, temperature will be same, right? Temperature is independent of this dividation. If I measure the energy, so this is very interesting. If I measure energy at this point, so it will be divided. Okay, so total energy content of the system will be divided. So that means what I'm saying here actually is, so there are some certain properties like mass there, and then there is energy, which are depending on the mass. Like mass is obviously dependent on itself. Energy also depending on the mass. If you divide the mass, energy will be also divided. But there are some properties like pressure, temperature, which are independent of the mass. If you even if you divide the mass into two parts, pressure will remain the same in both way. Temperature of both the parts will remain the same. Okay. Extensive properties are dependent on mass of the system, like density. Okay, density is meter cube per kg, so that is why it is depending on the mass. So pressure will not be there, so this is actually wrong. Pressure and temperature, these are the intensive properties, right? So here you can take energy, which is dependent on the mass. Okay, and the third here, it is specific. Again, in this your course of mechanical engineering, again you will come across the specific property. Specific means divided by mass. If you take energy divided by mass, so that will be specific, right? If you take enthalpy divided by mass, so that will be specific enthalpy. If you take entropy divided by mass, it will be specific entropy. So like that way, there are the properties. If you take volume divided by mass, so that will be specific volume. So whenever divide any property by mass, so that will be specific property. Okay, so properties of system here: intensive, extensive, that is a major classification. Intensive is independent of mass, extensive is dependent on mass. Okay, so I hope okay, so we can take for another 5 minutes and then we can stop. So up to this point, I'll quickly cover what we have learned up to this point. So we started with the thermodynamics. What is the therm and dynamics? Then we have seen system and surroundings, right? Then I explained you there are 3 types of system and systems: closed system, then we have isolated system, then we have open system, right? Then we have seen the properties of the system: intensive properties, extensive properties, and specific properties. Okay. So there will be an MCQ which is continuously or regularly asked. So you will be given some properties, then you have to divide or you have to analyze. What is it an intensive property or is it a extensive property? Okay. So in next lecture, we'll go for the state and equilibrium. Then we'll see what is the path and process. Then we'll see what is the cycle, right? Then we'll see what are the reversible and irreversible processes. Okay, so that will be for the next lecture. And after that, we can go for the laws of the thermodynamics. So these are those very basic concepts or foundations we are going to study now. Next lecture will be related to the path and processes, cycles, reversible, irreversible processes, etc., etc. Okay. So quickly, I will take a poll. Let me know if you are really understood the concepts we have taken today. Okay, so I will create a poll. Let me see if you have really understood the concept of whatever we have learned today. Okay, so just wait. I'm signing in into the poll. Okay, wait. Yes. Okay. Yes. So go to the poll. One question I have put there. Density is dash dash property. Is it an intensive property or is it a extensive property? So remember, intensive is independent of mass. Extensive is a dependent on mass. Okay. Yes. Okay. So 17 people have voted for intensive. Okay. So that is again correct answer. Density is independent of mass. Okay. Even if I divide the room into two parts, I go to the one point in one section, I go to the another point in another section, the density of the air will remain same. Okay. So it is independent of the mass. Okay. So though it was given in the PPT as a extensive property, density is independent of mass. You divide a room into 10 parts, still the density of air will remain same. Okay. But if you divide the room in 10 parts, the energy content in each part will be different. Okay. If you divide the room in many parts, pressure and temperature, any point, if you take any point, it will be constant. It will not change. So that is why they are intensive properties, which are not dependent on mass. But if you take energy, as you divide the in many parts, energy content will also be divided. So that is why energy is an extensive property. Okay, so good. So we'll stop today, but put your attendance in the chat box. Simply put your roll number. Don't write anything SB or anything. Just put a roll number. Just put number. Okay, don't write anything SB or anything. Okay. So we'll go type fast because this meeting will end. Afterwards, you cannot complain. Type fast. So we'll go very slowly. We'll understand every concept. Okay. Even though you have studied this subject in your diploma, in that case, you have studied only definitions or you have remembered it or you have marked to get maximum marks in examination. But in engineering, it is very difficult. Here you have to understand and apply the concept. Okay. Then and then only you can be called as a real engineer. Okay. So I hope everybody has put roll number. So we can stop now. Those who are not enter fast because at 2 p.m. this meeting will end. Those who are remaining, put your roll number. Just put number. Don't write anything, say SB or anything. Tejal Kasbe, you are not following my instructions. Just put your roll number. Diptesh. Yes. Be attentive. So Tejal Kasbe, what is your real roll number? Is it 14 or 15? Yes. What is your roll number? 14 or 15? You are given both numbers. Okay, so with this we'll stop today, and we'll see you in next lecture. Thank you.